Members, back on the file items 100 and 101, pass and retain. Moving to file item 102. That's AB 1680 for the purpose of amendment. Clerk will read with amendments.
Assembly Bill 1680 with amendments by Assemblymember Rodriguez.
Mr. Rodriguez, you may open on the amendments.
Speaker and members, 1680 clarifies the existing law that makes it a misdemeanor to interfere or impede police, firefighters, and EMS personnel at the scene of an emergency by specifying that this crime can be committed remotely by the use of an unmanned aerial vehicle or drone. The amendments are technical in nature and clarify that the person operating the drone does not need to be at the scene of emergency. I respectfully ask for aye vote on adoption of amendments.
Thank you, Mr. Rodriguez. Seeing no discussion or debate on the amendments, without objection, we may take a voice vote on these amendments. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say nay. The ayes have it. The amendments are adopted. Bill is out to print and back on file. Members, we have a special guest with us in the Assembly today, a former member of this body as well as the State Senate. The Honorable Tom Hayden has joined us today. Okay, members, we are back on the file. File item 103 is AB 2168. The clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 2168 by Assemblymember Williams, an act relating to the Public Utilities Commission.
Members, please direct your attention to Mr. Williams. Mr. Williams, you may open.
Good morning, Mr. Speaker, members. This bill was pulled from consent last week to make minor amendments on the floor. It codifies several recommendations drafted in an audit by the California State Auditor's Office of the PUC. These statutory changes will protect ratepayers by ensuring that the transactions recorded in balancing accounts are for allowable purposes and are supported by appropriate documentation. I ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. Seeing no discussion or debate on this item, clerk will open the roll. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll. Tally the vote. Ayes 72, no 0. Measure passes. File items 104 through 106, pass and retain. We're at file item 107. That's AB 2655 for the purpose of amendment. Clerk will read with amendments.
Assembly Bill 2655 with amendments by Assemblymember Weber.
Dr. Weber on the amendments.
Yes, Mr. Speaker and members, AB 2655 gives the court the authority to extend bail by up to 90 days whenever the district attorney is delayed in filing charges. This bill helps prevent individuals who are arrested from having to pay the bail amount twice. The amendments are technical in nature and clarify when the beginning of the bail bond period begins and what has to happen to have the bail bond period extended. AB 2655 passed out of Policy Committee on consent, and I respectfully ask for your aye vote on these amendments.
Thank you, Dr. Weber. Seeing no discussion or debate on the amendments, without objection, we may take a voice vote on these amendments. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. The ayes have it. The amendments are adopted. Bill is out to print. Back on file. File items 108 through 114, pass and retain. We're at file item 115. That's AJR 33. The clerk will read.
Assembly Joint Resolution 33 by Assemblymember Bonilla and others relative to the Port Chicago 50.
Ms. Bonilla, you may open.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. Today I present to you AJR 33, which urges the United States Congress to publicly exonerate the 50 African American sailors of the United States Navy who were wrongfully convicted of mutiny for their connection to the Port Chicago disaster. In World War II, the Port Chicago Naval Magazine in Concord, California, which is my home city, transported bombs, shells, mines, and other ammunition. Loading ammunition and explosives was performed exclusively by African American sailors under the supervision of white officers. Despite warnings from the Longshoremen's Union, the United States Navy failed to adequately provide African American sailors with the proper tools necessary to operate under safe working conditions. On July 17, 1944, there was a devastating explosion in the Port Chicago Naval Magazine in Concord. The explosion was by far the deadliest home front disaster of World War II. 320 people were killed, 202 of which were African Americans. This accounted for 15% of all African American naval casualties in World War II. At that time, the other sailors, white sailors, were given leave to go home. The African Americans were ordered back to work. They did not want to return to work, but under threat of death for mutinous conduct, 208 of the remaining African American sailors did return to work. The remaining 50, however, were convicted of mutiny for failing to obey orders. What we're doing here is an act of justice. It's encouraging Congress to overturn that court sentence and to give these 50 remaining men honorable discharges from the Navy. We have an opportunity today from California to send a message to our federal government where this took place under their watch to make what was wrong right. It is the least we can do in the memory of these very courageous and honorable sailors who were serving their country, and it's the very least we can do for their families. I know we have Mr. Thurman here today to introduce some of the sons of these very sailors. Thank you so much, and I do ask for your aye vote and that the roll would be open for co-authors as well.
Thank you, Ms. Bonilla. Mr. Thurman, you're recognized on the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. I rise also in support of AJR 33. I'd like to thank my colleague, the gentlewoman from Concord, for her leadership in this discussion, and I'm honored to be a co-author of this resolution. My heart is heavy today, recognizing how hard historically African Americans have had to fight to serve this nation in military service. My heart is heavy that many of our troops, many of our sailors lost their lives. 320 people losing their lives in explosions that rocked an entire area. I've had the opportunity to spend time out in this area. Little did I know that one of my constituents was a sailor who was present at the explosion. And today I was given the opportunity to meet 3 of his sons, who I'll be introducing later today. My mind goes to what his experiences must have been like to be present immediately after the explosion, to be thrown by that explosion, and to witness his colleagues being accused of mutiny. I pray that this legislature support this resolution and send a message to Congress to right this wrong, to recognize the tradition of African American sailors who served this country, and to recognize the legacy of those who sacrificed and those who served, and to add them to the list honorably of those who have served our great nation. I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Mr. Thurman. Mr. Chavez, you are recognized.
I also stand and ask everyone to support this resolution. It's true that it was a dark time in our history as we segregated people. As a lot of people know, even my own service, the Marine Corps, was not integrated at that time. But I'd also ask everyone to look at the date this happened. In July, the first week of July of 1944, was just 30 days after we had D-Day on 7 June 1944. There was a fear at that time that we were not going to actually be able to stop the Nazi advance. Rommel was repositioning. He desired to push us off. There was a whole feign going off the idea that the main attack, we were going to come from the north. We were worried about logistics and moving supplies in. We were losing thousands of people every day. And really, the whole world was at this one point of deciding where we're going to win this war in Europe. Imagine the pressures on the logistics to move people and material and ammunition to Europe to do the push into Germany. The Battle of the Bulge was just 2 months after this. That does not condone what was happening here. I just ask sometimes when we do these resolutions, think about the greater picture of what was going on at that time. Japan was still very strong, and we had to beat Germany. Was it the wrong thing to do to segregate? Yes. Was it wrong to put people in unsafe conditions? Yes. Should these men have been mutinous? No, they should not have. And so it's right to correct it. I just ask that we also take a step back and think about what was going on at this time in July of 1944.
Seeing no additional discussion on the item, Ms. Bonilla, you may close if you wish.
Thank you so much. It is an opportunity to right a wrong. The shame is not upon the sailors who were charged with mutiny. The shame is upon us. The shame is upon the fact that they were in very unsafe working conditions and that so many lives were lost. I do encourage your aye vote, that we send this strong message to Congress to right this wrong and to really bring honor to the sailors, their memory, and to their families. I do ask for your aye vote and that the roll be open for co-authors.
Ms. Bonilla is asking the first roll be open for co-authors. The clerk will open the roll. Members, this is for co-authors on the resolution, co-authors on AJR 33. The clerk will close the roll. There are 75 co-authors added. We are going to take a roll call vote on the joint resolution. The clerk will open the roll. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote. Who desire to vote? Clerk will close the roll, tally the vote. Ayes 75, no 0. The resolution is adopted. Mr. Thurman, back to you for your guest introduction relative to the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. Colleagues, it's an honor to be able to introduce 3 children of a survivor of the Port Chicago explosion. 3 sons who live in our community. And while I did not get to meet their father, Morris Soublé Sr., who passed away in 2004, I am honored to have learned from their personal account his experience, that he knew many of the sailors who lost their lives in that explosion. He was not accused of mutiny. He served and aided others, and his sons continue that legacy. And I had the honor of working with one of his sons who served at the city of Richmond as one of our city attorneys when I was on the city council. And it is a special privilege to be able to introduce his sons, including Morris Soublé Jr., who is a retired high school teacher from St. Joseph Notre Dame High School in Alameda, and who lives in the district of the gentleman who represents Hayward. To also introduce Richard Soublé, who lives in Oakland, in the district of the gentleman from Alameda, who shared that if his father had gone to the dock even just a bit earlier, that Richard and his 7 brothers and sisters would never have been born. And Brian Soublé, who lives in Sacramento, in the district of our colleague with the former law enforcement background, who is the Deputy Director and Chief Counsel for the California DMV. Colleagues, please join me in welcoming the Soublé sons who are here today.
Members, we are back on the file. File item 116, pass and retain. We are going to take up file item 117. That's AB 2005 by Mr. Ridley Thomas. The clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 2005 by Assemblymember Ridley Thomas, an act relating to juveniles.
Mr. Ridley Thomas, you may open on the measure.
Thank you. I rise to present AB 2005, which would prohibit a court from placing a juvenile in out-of-state juvenile home, ranch camp, or forestry camp unless certain conditions apply. With that, I would respectfully request an aye vote, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Ridley Thomas. Seeing no discussion or debate on the item, the clerk will open the roll. All members vote or desire to vote. All members vote or desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll. Tally the vote. Ayes 75, no 0. Measure passes. File item 118, that's AB 1964 for the purpose of amendments. Clerk will read with amendments.
Assembly Bill 1964 with amendments by Assemblymember Bloom.
Mr. Bloom on the amendments.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. I'm taking this bill up for the purpose of amendments to add co-authors. I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Mr. Bloom. Seeing no discussion or debate on the item, without objection, we may take a voice vote on these amendments. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say nay. The ayes have it. The amendments are adopted. The bill is out to print and back on file. File item 119 is passed and retained. File item 120, AB 2089 by Mr. Quirk. The clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 2089 by Assemblymember Quirk, an act relating to elections.
Mr. Quirk, from your new desk.
Thank you, Speaker. AB 2089 requires county officials to notify a voter if his or her vote by mail ballot was not counted. In November of 2012, 51% of Californians voted by mail, and of these, almost 60,000 were not counted. In 2014, only 400 votes separated the second and third candidates in the state controller's race. Clearly, uncounted absentee votes can change the results in elections. In a recent study by the California Voter Foundation, there were 3 primary reasons that vote-by-mail ballots were uncounted in California. They arrived late, they were lacking a signature, or most commonly, the signature on the envelope did not match the one on the voter's affidavit of registration. Please help protect the right to vote by voting aye for AB 2089. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Quirk. Mr. Obernolte, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Colleagues, I rise in support of AB 2089. I've been a registered permanent absentee voter for many years, and it's only been in the last few years that I've known it was an option to go on the registrar's website to verify that my ballot had been counted. If my ballot hadn't been counted, I would want to know. And I think it's important to consider, as we make this decision, that if we disenfranchise a voter by not counting their vote, for example, because their signature is irregular, because they're putting the wrong address on their absentee ballot, if we fail to notify them, we are not only disenfranchising them for that election, but for all the future elections in which they make the same mistake because they don't know that the mistake is being made. I urge an aye vote.
Thank you, Mr. Obernolte. Seeing no discussion or debate, additional discussion or debate on the item, clerk will open the roll. All members vote or desire to vote. All members vote or desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. The clerk will close the roll, tally the vote. Ayes 63, noes 3. Measure passes. File items 121 through 126 pass and retain. We are going to take up file item 127. That's AB 2021. The clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 2021 by Assemblymember Ridley Thomas, an act relating to elections.
Mr. Ridley Thomas, you may open.
Yes, I rise to present AB 2021, which would explicitly provide that international election observers have access to all election processes that are conducted and open to the public. With that, Mr. Speaker, I would respectfully request an aye vote.
Thank you, Ms. Ridley-Thomas. Seeing no discussion or debate on the item, clerk will open the roll. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. The clerk will close the roll, tally the vote. Ayes 52, noes 19. Measure passes. We're going to pass and retain on file item 129, as well as file item 128. 128, 129, 130, and 131 all pass and retain. We are moving to file item 132. That's AB 2300 by Dr. Wood. Clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 2300 by Assemblymember Wood, an act relating to medical marijuana.
Dr. Wood, you may open.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. 5 years ago, the legislature passed and the governor signed SB 332, which statutorily made it clear that landlords have the authority to prohibit smoking cigarettes or other tobacco products in rental units. That new law aligned with the already existing ban of smoking in the workplace, while also recognizing that secondhand tobacco smoke may cause death or serious illness. AB 2300 seeks to extend the same authority to landlords to prohibit medical marijuana smoke. Current law already prohibits a qualified patient from smoking medical marijuana 1,000 feet away from a school or other youth-related centers, on a school bus, while operating a car or a boat, and in any place where smoking is already prohibited by law. This bill makes it clear that landlords can also prohibit smoking medical marijuana within rental units to protect tenants. Secondhand smoke, regardless of whether it's smoke from tobacco or marijuana, is especially problematic in multi-unit housing, condos, apartments, because the smoke easily travels through windows, doors, and shared ventilation systems. Neighbors living in multifamily housing can be exposed to toxic or unwanted secondhand smoke. It's a nuisance that tenants shouldn't have to live with. 2 weeks ago, there was a briefing across the street on the dangers of secondhand marijuana smoke. The University of California briefing highlighted a recent study by UC researcher Professor Dr. Matthew Springer, who's a professor of cardiology at UCSF. It states that smoke from marijuana can damage your heart and blood vessels as much as cigarette smoke. This study highlights another reason why we need to make it clear in law that a landlord has the ability to prohibit medical marijuana smoke. This AB 2300 does not infringe upon the Compassionate Use Act, Prop 215, that is intended to ensure that seriously ill Californians have the right to obtain and use marijuana for medical purposes, but Prop 215 does not specifically mention the right to smoke marijuana. It can be consumed in other ways. Qualified patients will still be able to obtain and use medical marijuana through all other non-smoking ways. The bill passed Assembly Judiciary unanimously with bipartisan support. I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Dr. Wood. Seeing no discussion or debate on the item, clerk will open the roll. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll, tally the vote. Ayes 74, no 0. Measure passes. File item 133 passed and retained. File item 134, AB 2024. Clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 2024 by Assemblymember Wood and others, an act relating to healing arts.
Dr. Wood, you may again open.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker and members. AB 2024 permits federally certified critical access hospitals to employ physicians in charge for their professional services. Critical access hospitals are also referred to by many as frontier hospitals because most are located in remote and rural areas. There are 34 such hospitals in the state, and they all have 25 or fewer beds. While these hospitals are small, they provide critical services and value for communities in which they are located. Without these hospitals, people in these communities often have to travel many, many miles before reaching another hospital. As I was running for office, one of the issues I heard throughout my district was the challenges these hospitals face in attracting physicians. I have 6 of the 34 critical access hospitals in my district. I'm sympathetic to the concerns of the medical community about whether allowing hospitals to employ physicians will change the nature of clinical decisions, but feel that access for rural Californians shouldn't be limited because of the medical community fear. I will continue to dialogue with the medical community regarding their concerns, but I'm committed to providing a meaningful tool for our small rural hospitals throughout the state and that tool is the stability and security of employment to those 34 hospitals who want to recruit and desperately need to retain physicians. I believe 2024 is a modest bill, provides a limited exemption for those hospitals most at risk for closing their doors if they can't address their physician staffing needs. I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Dr. Wood. Mr. Dowley, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I also rise in support of this bill. This bill, along with my colleague from the North Coast, it definitely impacts my district where we have critical access hospitals, very spaced out, very in large areas. So I also urge an aye vote on this bill.
Mr. Cooley, you are recognized.
Colleagues, I want to rise in support of this bill. These rural health districts, delivery of medical care is very important. In the last few years in Northeast California, Modoc County, the voters undertook to approve funding in an election to support that local provision of services. So I think where our citizens see the need locally, have acted to improve the quality of life, I think this is a very appropriate measure to jump up and support them in these vital needs in these areas of California.
Thank you, Ms. Cooley. Mr. Bigelow, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members. I rise as a co-author of this bill and somebody who strongly supports it, like our good friend from up in Lassen area in Bieber, California. Thank you. He looks up. 9 counties he represents. I represent 9 counties. In total, that's 18 of the 58 counties, rural counties, where people today are being turned away from access to good health care. In fact, some of the doctors now that do exist there say, for you to get any kind of care, you're going to have to travel to a very far distant away. In some cases, I've heard as far as Los Angeles, where they've been turned away because they didn't have local access to health care, quality health care. For that reason, and the many reasons that the author has spoken about, I would highly encourage all members here to vote for this bill. I encourage an aye vote.
Thank you, Mr. Bigelow. Seeing no additional discussion or debate, Dr. Wood, you may close if you wish.
Just respectfully ask for your aye vote.
With that, the clerk will open the roll. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll, tally the vote. Ayes 76, no 0. Measure passes. File items 135 through 138 pass and retain. File item 139